What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds, and in today's video, we're going to be looking at some more NBA player props. I've got a little bit of points, assists, rebounds, and three-point makes for you, so definitely stay tuned if you play on PrizePicks, or maybe PrizePicks isn't available where you live and you have sports betting available. This information will definitely apply across all platforms, so definitely stay tuned. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Here on Out of Bounds, we do a little bit of everything from single stat player props to looking at some of the other, fantasy sports, that sort of thing. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. My goal for this week would be to get to 1,100 subscribers. That would be amazing. There's still about 49% of you guys who watch these videos every day who are not subscribed. So definitely hit subscribe, turn on notifications, because I'm dropping videos every day, Monday through Friday, to help you make better picks. Now, I'm going to set a light goal here that's going to be a bit aggressive because you guys just keep smashing it and I don't think you're being pushed. I don't think you're being challenged enough. So let's set today's light goal at 49.5. I'm taking the over, which means we got to hit 50 or more. That's right. I'm putting the pressure on you, the viewer, to try and hit this 49.5 over. So let's see if you can do it. I believe you can. Now tonight, I think we've got about 7 games on the NBA slate. So we got to talk some injury news. And the one that I want to talk about first and foremost comes out of Charlotte because there's a couple of big name players that will not be suiting up for the Hornets tonight. The first one being PJ Washington, who's dealing with personal issues. He's not going to play for the Hornets on Tuesday, nor will Miles Bridges, who is out due to health protocols. He's expected to be out for 10 to 14 days. Now, they just got LaMelo Ball back, and now they're going to be without 2 of their top forwards in Bridges and Washington. So definitely unfortunate for the Charlotte Hornets. If we move on down the line here, let's see if there's any other news that is pertinent, relevant to Tuesday's NBA slate. Looks like Pokusevski is questionable with a knee injury for the Thunder, so not sure if we're going to see him or not. That would be a big boost for guys like Roby and Moses Brown and some of their other big men. He would definitely open up some minutes for those other guys. Looks like the Heat's Andre Iguodala dealing with a hip injury. He's questionable for Tuesday. Harrison Barnes, who has missed a little bit of time here recently, is dealing with an adductor. He's doubtful for the Kings on Tuesday, so the Kings will be without Barnes. Buddy Hield's been stepping up here lately for the Sacramento Kings without Barnes around. So maybe he continues to do that tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks, Jeff Teague, dealing with an abdominal issue. He'll be out for Tuesday, so no Jeff Teague for the Bucks. The Suns' Cameron Payne will be out with a knee injury. Let's see what else we've got here. Devonte Graham is also out for the Charlotte Hornets. I didn't catch that one, so you can expect probably big bumps for LaMelo Ball, Terry Rozier, and whoever else they decide to give us on the Charlotte Hornets for PrizePicks today. So there you have it for him. Otherwise, I think that's all the big news right now. So most of it's coming out of Charlotte, but definitely stay tuned. If you're not in our Discord community, it's free for you to join. Leave a link down in the description below for you to join that. But I've got an NBA news feed in there that pumps in all the latest NBA news, injury news, lineups, all that stuff. Totally free for you guys to use all that. And then if you want even more content from me, more than I can give you here in a 30-minute YouTube video, well, I do put together spreadsheets and some helpful tools and stuff like that for you guys to use if you want to join the Patreon community. Patreon link down in the description below as well. It's just $20 a month. Guys, one winning night and you make that money back. So it's a pretty easy way for you to make extra money. If you're looking for more information, maybe you don't have the time to do the research that I show you how to do in these videos. But anyway, enough of the shameless plugs. Let's get into some of these player props. Yesterday's video, I believe we had 4 hits, 1 push, and 3 misses. Now that 1 push was Killian Hayes and his assist prop. I liked it at 7.5 for the under. They ended up bumping it down to 7 by the time I got started with the video, and then he ended up getting exactly 7 assists. Go figure. So that was our push from last night. But let's see if we can improve. My goal is always to go 8 for 8, but I know that's unrealistic, but we've only done it once. Let's see if we can do it tonight. Anyways, Got 3 points props I want to talk about. The first is going to be Cedi Osman for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're taking on the Phoenix Suns tonight. That game tips off at 7:10 p.m. So let's look at the game totals real quick. We've got 220 implied points between these two teams, with Cleveland as a massive 13-point underdog, meaning this is more than likely going to be a blowout situation where Phoenix smashes the Cleveland Cavaliers on their own home court. So yeah, definitely concern here for a blowout. So now that we know that, we're going to use Number Fire to help us determine if the over or the under is going to be a good way to go here on these 13.5 points. So what I just did was a Control F, and that brings up this little search box here at the top. I typed in Cedi Osman's name. If you're on a Mac, by the way, you can use Command F, and it will also bring up that search function. But you can see I've got the points column highlighted yellow, and he is projected for 12.4 points according to the fine folks over at Number Fire, which leads us to believe that we should be looking to go under on Cedi Osman in this situation. Now, knowing what we know now, we can go and take a look at how he's been scoring the basketball both for the season, and we're going to look at a more recent sample size by looking at his last 5 games. So I have typed in his name to nba.com/players. Again, this is totally free for you to use as well. Type in Cedi's name. Another control click on his name, and it pops up his player card here, and you can see that his player card shows that he is scoring 10 points per game for the season, which is much less than 13.5. Another good sign that the over is the right way to go here. So I click on the stats tab here, click on traditional splits. We're going to then click for advanced filters. And under advanced filters, there's a season segment option. We're going to change that from all games, and we're going to go to his last 5 games. So we want to look and see if the 11 points that he scores on a season-long basis goes up or goes down in his last 5 games. Hopefully it goes down because we're looking to take the under here. All right, so you can see that in his last 5 games, he's appeared in all 5. He's playing nearly 33 minutes per game. Now, in that time span, he is scoring 14.6 points per game, which is quite a bit higher than his season average of 10 points per game. So that's 4.6 points difference. So yeah, that's a little bit of a red flag when we're looking to take the under, seeing that his last 5 games, he has been scoring more than 13.5 points. So just something to definitely consider there. Now, the last site that we use is rotowire.com, and I like RotoWire because they give us DraftKings Sportsbook, FanDuel Sportsbook, BetMGM, and PointsBet, so 4 different sportsbooks, and they have this really handy feature where you can go to the different single stat player props. In this case, we want to look at points. We're going to type in Cedi's name. He is the only Cedi tonight, and I think the only Cedi in the NBA, but anyway, when you type his name in, you can take a look at how all the different sports books have him set up. Now, right now, he's at 13.5 points across all 4 books. Also across all 4 books is the fact that we're not really seeing any action to help us decide if bettors on the sports books are taking the over or taking the under. You see him at minus 113 over under. You see him at minus 10 over under. And you see him at minus 115 over under. And minus 115 on PointsBet over under. So it's pretty much a gridlock here. We're gridlocked across all 4 of the sports books. So we're not really getting any type of insight here by looking at these sports books at this time. But just as I've mentioned in past videos, these projections, both on PrizePicks, the different props over on Vegas, I mean, these odds and everything, they change throughout the day. So you got to keep tabs on that, especially when news breaks and stuff like that. So as of right now, though, I think that I will stick with the under on Cedi Osman. The game does look like a blowout. Hopefully that impacts Cedi in our favor, meaning that he doesn't play in blowouts. On top of that, his season averages are 10 points per game, which is quite a bit lower than 13.5. The big knock against him, though, is going to be that in the last 5 games, his scoring averages are up. So it is a little bit risky, but as was the case with Davis Bertans last night, if you ended up playing him, well, it ended up hitting. Sometimes you just have to take those 5-game averages, crumble them up, and Kobe, throw them away. Sometimes the 5-game averages don't tell the full story. So I always look at that, though, the 5-game averages, season averages, to help me try and put together a picture in my mind, because all these numbers and stats and stuff, they tell a story, and you got to figure out what that story is. So there you have it on Cedi Osman. Next guy I want to talk about is Chris Middleton. The Milwaukee Bucks tonight are taking on the Brooklyn Nets once again. And they got Chris Middleton up at 22.5 points, both on PrizePicks and across the industry on the various different sports betting sites. So 22.5 points taking on the Brooklyn Nets at 7:40 p.m. Let's go take a look at the game totals and the spread for this game first and foremost here. Now you see that there is a massive total on the board here, 242 implied points. That is a whole lot of points expected to be scored between these two teams. Now, on top of that, this game is just a 2-point spread. So Milwaukee is a 2-point favorite at home, meaning this game should not blow out. It should stay close and competitive. From the looks of things, we should have both Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant suiting up for Brooklyn tonight. So it should be a star-studded affair. Excited to watch this one. So now that we know how this game is shaping up here, let's do a search for Chris Middleton. And you can see that from the very start here at 21 points, that puts him under 22.5 points. So it's looking like the under should be the way that we are looking to go here on Chris Middleton so far. But we don't stop just there. So we're going to move on and we're going to look at NBA.com, look at his season averages for his scoring, look at his last 5 game averages for his scoring, and get a better idea of how those numbers have changed over time. Now, for the season, 20.4 points per game. That's quite a bit lower than 22.5 points. So I am liking the way that is looking so far. Let's click the stats number here and we'll click traditional splits, change the season segment again to last 5 games, and we'll run that. Now, his averages are up. He's up to 24.2 points per game over his last 5 games. He's playing over 35 minutes in those games. So that's a little bit troublesome, being that we're looking to take the under on Chris Middleton. Now, one thing I want to do with him, because this is a rematch, I want to look at the last game and run that, which was against this Brooklyn Nets team. And in that game, he did drop 26 points. So again, a little bit of a red flag here against Chris Middleton and going under on his points prop. So let's move over to the sports books and see how the action is looking so far. And you can see that not all 4 of the sports books have a point prop up here for Chris Middleton, but 3 of them do. Now, the 3 that do, it's a little bit of a mixed bag here. So we got FanDuel at 22.5. Now, at 22.5, he's a minus 122 over on FanDuel to go under 22.5 points. BetMGM, they've got him at 21.5. Now, 21.5, interestingly enough, people are betting the over. So between 21.5 and 22.5 lies what? 22. So they kind of expect him to land on 22 points tonight. And last but not least, PointsBet also has him at 22.5, just like FanDuel. And there he is a minus 125 to go under. So an even stronger position being taken out by bettors over on PointsBet on this 22.5 point prop for Chris Middleton. So again, this is one of those situations where, yeah, the last 5 game averages might scare you off, or the last game in which he played against the Brooklyn Nets might scare you off of Chris Middleton. But I'm seeing enough evidence here, both on PointsBet, both on FanDuel, and looking at his season averages, looking at the projection over on NumberFire, that I don't mind taking the under here. Yeah, the game's going to be very high scoring. Yes, it is expected to stay close. So guys like Chris Middleton, Giannis, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, all these guys should get a full complement of minutes, a full run tonight. So it's a little bit of a risk when you take an under on such a high scoring game. But Chris Middleton, if you've played him at all this season, you know that he's got the ability to definitely go under, and especially in the scoring column on some nights. So I'm going to stick with it and go under on Chris Middleton. Next guy I want to talk about is Andrew Wiggins. So they are also in a situation where they're dealing with a rematch, a back-to-back here against the same team. They're taking on the New Orleans Pelicans. That game tips off at 8:10 p.m. and he is at 21.5 points, which seems a little bit too rich for my blood. So we're going to do a quick little look into the game totals, get an idea of how many points are expected to be scored tonight between these two teams, and then we'll look at the spread, of course. So we got 235 implied points to be scored by these two teams when you combine the totals of each of them. That's how you come up with that number, in case you didn't know. And then on top of that, we've got just a 2-point spread, meaning the game is going to stay close and competitive. This one does not look like it is in any danger of a real blowout. So definitely shaping up to be another one of those exciting, high-scoring games with a lot of big names involved. So, knowing what we know now, we can take a look at Andrew Wiggins, and I don't even have to search for him here because he is right in front of my face. So you can see that he's at 20.3 points. That is the projection according to Numberfire. So that puts him under 21.5. So we just need him to be at 21 points or less if we're looking to take the under. So far, this is looking very good. Now, let's move back over to NBA.com. We will type in Wiggins. He is the only Wiggins in the association. And you can see that for the season, he is scoring at just an 18.2 point per game clip. So that's quite a bit less than this 21.5 number, which is a good sign for us. But things have changed with the dynamic of this Golden State Warriors team over the course of the season, which is why we go and we dig into the last 5 games and get a better idea of how his scoring has gone up or possibly down during that time span. Now, over his last 5 games, he is at 20.2 points, which is more than a season average, but still less than 21.5. So I like the fact that both his season averages and his last 5 game scoring averages are both below 21.5. That makes me feel pretty confident here when looking to take the under on Andrew Wiggins. So knowing what we know now, we can move back over to RotoWire and wrap things up here for Wiggins. You can see that only one sportsbook has a point prop up for Andrew Wiggins at this time, and that is FanDuel. So they got him at 21.5, just like PrizePicks, and on that 21.5, he is a minus 118 to this point to go under 21.5 points, which lines up with both his projections, his averages. So I'm going to stick with it. I think I'm going to stay with the under on Andrew Wiggins. Hopefully these other sports books put a points prop up for Andrew Wiggins so we can have an even better idea of which way the juice is flowing, over or under. But I'm going to stick with the under on Andrew Wiggins in this case. Just too much evidence for me to go the other way. So there you go. Now that we've got some points props in the books, let's talk another Golden State Warrior here, and I'm talking Steph Curry, and we're going to talk assists for Steph Curry. Now he is currently at 5.5 assists, and at 5.5 assists, I think I'm looking to take the over here, especially in such a high scoring game. Now Curry went off last night. I think he had like 41 points or something like that. It was definitely a 40-point game, big game for him. Let's see if tonight maybe he takes on more of a pass first role. We'll be able to decide that based on how his averages or projections are looking, his averages are looking, and how the action in Vegas is looking as well. So let's type in Steph Curry's name. And you can see that right out of the gate here, he is at 6.1 assists. So that's exactly where we need him to be, at 6 assists or more if we're looking to take the over on this 5.5 assist prop. So far, that is a good step in the right direction for us. So let's move on to NBA.com. We will type in Curry, and we get both Curry brothers, but we're not talking Seth Curry today. We're talking Steph Curry. Now for the season, he is at 5.8 assists per game, which is just enough to put him over 5.5, meaning that if you think about 5 assists and 6 assists, that more often than not, he is closer to 6 assists per game than he is down at 5. So that is a good sign. Let's click the stats tab, open up the traditional splits, change the advanced filters from all games to his last 5 games, and click run. Now, his assists are still hovering right around that 5.5 assists range. He's at 5.4, which is, yes, slightly less than 5.5, but not enough for me to feel like I need to flip-flop or fade. In other words, walk away from this pick and don't target it. But at 5.4 assists, that puts him pretty close to 5.8. It's a little bit of a down tick for him, but like I said, I'm not really too concerned about that because that puts him in the same neighborhood, the same ballpark here as 5.5 assists, so not too worried. So we're going to click the assist button here over on RotoWire. It transports us magically over to the assist props, and we're going to type in Steph Curry's name. Now at 5.5 assists, you can see he is up at both just DraftKings and over on FanDuel. Now DraftKings, we're not seeing any action over or under here. He's a minus 113 for the over and the under. But on FanDuel, a little bit more telling here. At 5.5 assists, he is a minus 120 at the moment to go over 5.5 dimes, which is looking very good for us. Now, guys, these aren't the only 4 sports books in existence. No, there's actually a ton of different sports books out there. These are just the 4 that RotoWire uses to compare. So I definitely encourage you to go out there. You can look at other, sports books and get a better idea. But of the ones that we do have here, it looks like FanDuel is definitely liking the over. Bettors over there are betting on the over. So I'm going to stick with it. I think his season averages, the game being such a high-scoring game with a close spread, plays into the favor of Steph Curry and these 5.5 assists. And I do like the fact that the juice is flowing on the over here on FanDuel at 5.5 assists. I do think that he's in a good spot here to potentially hit this. So sticking with it, not flip-flopping, not fading. So from the other side of this game, we've got Lonzo Ball at 6.5 assists. Now at 6.5 assists, I'm looking to take the under on Lonzo Ball. He's been playing very good basketball lately, don't get me wrong, but I am looking to go under here in this back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors. So let's type in Mr. Ball's name, and you can see that Number Fire has him at 5.6 assists. So you can kind of get an idea of why I'm looking to take the under here, because even if we round this up to 6 assists, he's still under 6.5, which means that we would be making money if we took the under on this 6.5 assist prop. So liking the way things are looking here for Lonzo Ball. Let's move over here to NBA.com. And just like the Curry brothers, there's 2 of them in the NBA. There's also 2 Ball brothers in the NBA. So we're going to click on Lonzo's name because that's the one we're talking about today. And you can see that for the season, based on his player card here, he is averaging 5.9 assists per game, which puts him under 6.5. That's kind of where we want him to be, right around that 6 assist number tonight, based on today's prop. We need him to go under 6.5. So let's look at his last 5 games, see if those assists are going up or going down versus his season averages. So we run this little report here. You can see he's appeared in all 5 of the last 5 games, 36.7 minutes per game on average, and his assist number is up. I told you, he's been playing better basketball. 8.2 assists puts him over 6.5 by quite a bit here. Now, that is a red flag for me. Not a little red flag either. This is one that we should definitely take seriously. But I'm going to do a little bit more research, and that means going over to RotoWire and typing in Lonzo Ball's name. Now, we've got 2 out of the 4 sports books that have a prop up for his assist. Now, both of them are at 6.5, and both of them are at a -120 to go under. So that is a good sign for us if we are looking to take the under. We now have 2 sports books that agree that the under should be the way to go here for Lonzo Ball. We have his projections, which are well below 6.5 assists. So I am liking the way things are setting up here for Lonzo Ball. And I don't know if you guys caught that, but there was a little glitch, a little wave of the magic wand by someone over at PrizePicks, and we've got more player props up here, so definitely go check them out after you watch this video. It looks like the Miami Heat and the Dallas Mavericks were just added to the board. But to top things off here for this prop, I think I'm going to still stick to the under on Lonzo Ball, ride with Vegas, ride with the projections, and see how things go. All right, so that brings us to rebounds. I've got just one rebound prop that I want to discuss, and that one is going to be Brooke Lopez. They're taking on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. As we mentioned before, the game tips off at 7:40 p.m. over on the East Coast. That is PrizePicks time, by the way. They're always like 10 minutes later than the actual tip-off time. So there you have it. Brooke Lopez, 4.5 rebounds. I'm looking to take the over. I mean, this guy's like 7 feet tall or something like that, 7'1". Come on, if he can't grab 5 rebounds, then what is he doing? I know, before you say anything, he's like a 7-foot shooting guard at this stage in his career. Has never really been known as a tremendous rebounder. He's got all that size. And for what? I don't know. He's kind of a big waste of size there, if you ask me. So his rebounds, let's go ahead and click on that. And we'll go up to Brooke Lopez. And there he is. He's at 5.1 rebounds tonight. So that is his projection according to Number Fire. Now, 5.1 rebounds is a good sign for the over because we need him to just haul in 5 boards. And this is a high-scoring game. This is a situation where he could potentially have one of those chips on his shoulders because he was once upon a time a New Jersey Net, and the New Jersey Nets have now turned into the Brooklyn Nets. So maybe he plays with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder in this game, a little bit of a revenge narrative if you believe in that sort of thing. So there you have it for Brooke Lopez. 5.1 rebounds puts him over 4.5. So let's move on here to NBA.com. Let's take a look at the numbers here. And man, we've got a reoccurring theme here in today's video. We've had 2 Curry brothers, we've had 2 Ball brothers, and now we've got 2 Lopez brothers over here on NBA.com. But we're going to talk Brooke Lopez, of course. So we click on that, open up his player card. He's at 4.9 rebounds for the season, almost at 5. We need him to pull down 5 boards tonight if we're looking to take the over. So this is a good sign that it's more than 4.5, meaning more often than not, he's close to 5 rebounds and not so close to the 4 rebound number. So we change this to his last 5 games. We click run it, and let's see what happens here. So during that last 5-game stretch, he's playing about 29.1 minutes per game. And in that time, his rebounds are a paltry, pathetic 3.4 rebounds. So that is quite a bit lower than where he's at for the season, which was 4.9. So things are trending down. We wanted them to trend up to feel a little more confident when taking the over here. So this is a little bit of a knock here against Brooke Lopez and going over on these 4.5 boards. But let's move ahead here. We'll go ahead and look at the rebound props over on RotoWire. So let's type in Lopez. And there we go. We've got him on, all 4 of the sports books. So they've all got him at 4.5 rebounds, and all of them think that he is going to go over 4.5 boards. So they got him at minus 114 on DraftKings, minus 115 over on FanDuel, minus 125 over on BetMGM, and minus 125 over on PointsBet. So all 4 of the sports books that we reference in our videos here, they agree that going over on Brooke Lopez at 4.5 boards is a good look. On top of that, his season averages are typically more toward the 5 range, which is a good sign. And he's projected to go for more than 4.5 rebounds. I think it was 5.1 rebounds, so that's another good sign. And we know that this game's going to be high scoring and a close spread. So I think Brooke Lopez will play as many minutes as his big body can handle, and I think there should be more shots going up, which means more opportunities for things like points and rebounds and assists and 3-point makes, all the fun stats that we like to talk about here on the channel. So yeah, I'm going to stick with it. Let's go over on Brooke Lopez and these rebounds. Now the last 2 props I want to talk about, both of them also come from this Milwaukee and Brooklyn game, and we're talking 2 Brooklyn 3-point shooters here. The first one is Kyrie Irving. Now, Kyrie Irving's at 2.5 3-point makes. I think that is a little bit too low. I think with the game totals being what they are, that there's a good chance that he could go over this and make at least 3 3-pointers and hit this prop for us. So let's see if our research aligns with that mentality. Let's see if I'm right or wrong here. So we'll open up Kyrie Irving's player card on NBA.com. Now we've got to dig a little deeper here to get to these 3-point stats. So we click the stats number, and then we click the traditional splits, and you can see that for the season, he is attempting almost 7 3-pointers per game. Now on those 7 3-point attempts, he's making 2.6, which puts him a little bit over 2.5 makes, meaning he is more likely to lean toward making 3 than he is toward making 2. So we change this from the season averages to his last 5 games, and let's see if that number goes up or goes down here. Not really much of a difference. Still attempting about 7 threes over his last 5 games, in which he's appeared in 4 of those last 5, and he's making 2.5 3-pointers during that span. So this is going to be one of those situations so far, based on his averages for the season, based on his last 5 games, where it's almost a coin flip, but it slightly favors the over based on his season averages. So let's move ahead here. We'll click the 3-point prop button down at the bottom, and we jump over to where we want to be. And you can see that across the industry here, he is at 2.5 3-point makes. Now, good sign for us is that all 4 of these sports books agree that he should be good enough to go over 2.5 3-point makes. So we got him on DraftKings at a minus 124 for the over. We've got him on FanDuel at minus 130 for the over. BetMGM minus 128 for the over. And last but not least, PointsBet has them up at minus 130 for the over. So very good action I'm seeing here for the over on Kyrie Irving. Guys, I'm going to go with it. I like how high these game totals are. I do like this situation for Kyrie to put in 3-point makes. So let's move on and talk about his teammate, the last prop of the video. We've made it to the end. The finish line is in sight. We've got Joe Harris here. Now he is also, of course, taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. He is also at 2.5 3-point makes, and I am also looking to take the over on Joe Harris here. So I need Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris to sink some triples tonight. So let's go look at Joe Harris's stats real quick. And for that, we go back to NBA.com. We type in his name, control click, up pops his player card. We dig in here, click the stats link, click traditional splits, move it on down here. Now you can see that for the season, he is attempting 6.4 three-pointers per game. Now on those 6.4 attempts, he's making them at a higher clip than Kyrie Irving, his teammate. He is making 3.1 3-point makes per game, which is fantastic for us because that's all we want. We just want him to make 3, and we are A-okay. We're in the money, right? So let's change this filter here. We're going to move it over to the last 5 games, get a more recent sample size. And you can see he's appeared in all 5 of those last 5 games. Now, his 3-point makes have began to fall a little bit. They're on the decline. 5.2 attempts, and during that time, he is making just 2.2 3-point makes. So that is a little bit concerning. Maybe the return of Kevin Durant has impacted him. You would think that him being kind of like the third option on this team in terms of scoring punch, that maybe having Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving out there on the court would open things up, as the defenses obviously should target and try to slow down both Kyrie and Kevin Durant. So maybe things open up for him tonight. This could be a situation where he bounces back and gets closer to those season averages of 3 or more 3-point makes in this situation here. So, but definitely worth pointing out, those last 5 games have been a little troublesome here for Joe Harris. So last but not least, we're going to type Joe Harris's name in here on RotoWire, and we'll go across the board here. Now he is at 2.5 3-point makes across all 4 of these sports books. And on DraftKings, he is a minus 125 to go over, which is pretty darn good. But you know what's even better? Minus 150 on the over on FanDuel. We love that. Anything minus 150 or more, I mean, that's almost a lock for me. Like, I can't pass that up. It just looks too good. Now over on BetMGM and PointsBet, not really seeing any juice on the over or the under there. He's a minus 115 over under on both of those sports books. But guys, I think I'm going to ride with this one and take the over still on Joe Harris. I do like the way that his season averages are looking. I do, again, like the game totals here. Very, very high game totals. This should be a game where a lot of shots are going up, and you know, he can knock down 3 of them. We know he's a shooter. We've seen him in the 3-point contests and stuff. That is what he's there for, is to be a sharp shooter for this Brooklyn Nets team. And finally, I like the fact that 2 of the sports books have him going over, and especially that minus 150 over on FanDuel. Only knock against him, again, is those last 5 games where his numbers are starting to go down just a little bit. But you guys let me know. Drop a comment down in the comments section. Which one of these props stands out the most to you? Or maybe it's one that I didn't talk about. I try not to talk about any of the props that have the hook, which is the 0.5, rounded up or rounded down. I don't like to get into situations where there's going to be a potential push. I either want to win or I want to lose, and I want to do it cleanly. So you guys let me know, which prop are you liking or not liking. Drop a comment down in the comment section below. And again, the like goal, 49.5 likes. I'm taking the over, which means we got to hit 50 likes. I'm really pushing you guys today. Let's see if you can get it done. Definitely make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on. That's going to do it for me. I'm CJ. This is Out of Bounds. Good luck tonight. And until the next video, guys, peace out.